Hello and welcome to Zerocarbonista Series 7, Don't Panic. I'm Ian Collins. This is your number one environment-based podcast. If it's green, it is in. I think the word chocker comes to mind on this one, Dale, because you're under the microscope by the right-wing press who've decided if they can't get an accurate comment from you, they'll just make one up.
We reached peak kaleidoscope this morning. It's in, might be in the Telegraph. Anyway, some Labour minister says, I somewhat implied, right, woolly statement. Was it a somewhat, who knows? Anyway, that all Jewish people all around the world should be held responsible for the actions of the Israeli government. Now, that's just made up, right? If you look at what I said was very simple. Netanyahu blamed Australian government policy for the Bondi Beach terror attacks. And I said, it got nothing to do with the genocide in Palestine then, right? Because it would be rather more obvious to think that if anti-Semitism is rising globally, then it's because of what's happening in Palestine and his own government policies. That's the point I made. I think it's a fair point. I think it's logical. The most likely reason for the rise of anti-Semitism is what Israel are doing in Palestine. And it's become this other thing now. Suddenly I've said all Jews are responsible for what the Israeli government does. I haven't said that at all. I don't think that either.
And the phrase, it's interesting. If you were sitting there at university breaking down and deconstructing sentences and language, somewhat implied. So even the phrase implied means I don't really know. And then when you bolt somewhat onto the beginning, it means I really don't know.
It's totally woolly.
It's more than woolly. I mean, it's just a kind of invention of what somebody wants to think somebody said.
Yeah. Stephen Kinnock is his name.
Yeah.
He's a minister for something. I don't know what. Implications, probably, for implied.
It's the minister for implications. It's an official role over there these days.
But I have had some lovely emails from people saying thank you for standing up, speaking out, saying the simple truth that so many people won't acknowledge, that surely what's happening in Palestine is creating a rise in global anti-Semitism. Surely to God, it has to be. When you look at what's happening, we don't need to list what's happened. We've talked about that before. So I've had some lovely emails from people saying, it's been, what can I say? I said
it. And that carries on, of course, as we know how this stuff works. It carries on for a few days and then it peters out, and then another kind of scalp is searched out for something they somewhat implied.
And it's always the same thing. Labour donor says this outrageous thing, which I didn't. I mean, they missed completely what I said. In all of the reporting, they don't report what I said. And they don't report what Netanyahu said, because the biggest outrage, surely, is that the Prime Minister of Israel accuses Australian government policy of being the cause of a terror attack on Bondi Beach. Surely that is outrageous, but nobody's saying that.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye on this, because, like I say, I don't think it's going away just yet, Dale.
No, it might pop up at PMQ is what we're hearing.
Yeah,
that's because Kemi, your old friend Kemi, waded in as well on social media.
Kenny's back.
Yeah. Kenny, the half-wit.
I didn't realise she was still there, to be honest, but still running the show over there at Tory HQ.
Still living on borrowed time, somewhat.
Yeah. Let's move to something lighter, though, Dale. It's your favourite time of year, of course. It's Christmas. You love a bit of Christmas, the trees, the tinsels. You're right up for it. But you did have a Christmas party at your HQ, Ecotricity HQ. A lot of questions being asked. Some of those journalists, it's been somewhat implied that there might have been meat on the table. True or false?
False, absolutely. What it was, we have this canteen. At the moment, it's 2 days a week. We bring food from Forest Green, and everybody in the office eats. And it's all free, and we've really enjoyed doing it. It's created a fantastic buzz, and it's a real uplift. We're going to extend it to Fridays in the new year, so we'll do 3 days a week, and I'm really happy about that. Anyway, but last week, it might have even been on Friday. We did it on Friday instead of, I don't know, maybe it was a special pop-up Friday. Who knows? Because it was Christmas lunch anyway.
Nice.
And we broke all records. We've been feeding about 200 people, doing 200 meals a day, roughly. We did nearly 300 on that day. I don't know where they all came from. Must be remote workers or something. I don't know. But they ate all the potatoes, didn't they? So I get there about, I don't know, 1:30. It's not late for lunch, is it? I get there at 1:30. All the potatoes are gone.
No way.
Yeah, come on. I mean, that's like
so
a crime.
The boss can't have a potato.
That's like a crime. Lunch. And then just when I think all was lost, I looked down at the ground and there was a potato. right? It had jumped over the edge of the serving thing and it was on the floor.
The
So I picked it up.
Yeah.
I picked it up. I wiped it
Soup
down.
potato. Yeah.
I picked it up. I wiped it down to the gasps of the surrounding people, dipped it in the gravy and ate it.
Good work. Yeah.
So I had a potato. So Christmas is saved.
You had one potato at your own Christmas dinner.
From the floor.
Yeah, that's a scandal.
And then we had a proper party later that night in town, in the sub rooms. About 400 people came that time.
Nice.
And it was just great fun.
Good work. Something else is going to be fun. I mean, I know you love a podcast, Dale, and I know you love this podcast, but there's other podcasts out there, and you're appearing on one after this.
Yes.
Frankly, scandalous, but
I'll be thinking about you all the time.
June Sarpong's podcast.
Yeah. I mean, who is she?
Presenter of something.
She's a lovely person. I've met her, but
she is. Really... Yeah, I think she used to do children's TV at one time.
Was it?
Is it a green-based podcast, or is it just?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know that I've had to. All I know is I had to cancel a few times, and even though I'm desperate to cancel again today, I'm going to go.
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad you can't hear this.
Well, she might. She might listen. You never know.
Here's a question that comes from Sophie on Insta. It says, Dale, I just read Manifesto. I'm really impressed by everything you're doing and all the solutions you found that make total sense. If only politicians would listen. As a vegan, I'm really curious about grass protein. Is it something you're still working on?
Yeah, it is. It's something I'm super excited about, actually. The whole concept of humans being able to eat grass is very counterintuitive. It goes against the often expressed kind of views of diehard meat eaters, let's say, that because we can't eat grass, then we might as well put animals out to graze and then kill them and eat them kind of thing. Despite the fact that I believe that we don't need to use every available scrap of land, we could let nature have some. I'm really pleased to have a very different answer, which is actually we can eat grass. We are, I think, now just a couple of weeks away from being allowed by the food standards people to eat it ourselves in the process of texture and taste testing and kind of product formulation. We're going to be able to do that sometime around mid-Jan, I think, which is really exciting. We've been producing the extract for some time now, like 6 months probably. And it's packed full of proteins, omega oils, minerals, vitamins. It's just incredible. It's an actual superfood. Grass is a superfood. If you've got 4 stomachs or whatever it is a cow has, then you already know this, right? But this is news to us.
To us humans. Yeah. Is it going to, I mean, look, people are very cynical about any new kind of innovation or technology, particularly when it comes to food. And the food industry, of course, is a huge multi-trillion-pound cartel of, often lab companies tucked away in the hills of Wyoming, doing all manner of mischief. So to get new stuff acknowledged is hard. To get it out there is even harder.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of years to get proper permission for the public to eat this stuff. We just go through a lot of tests and trials and stuff like that, And I guess it's fair enough. I mean, I don't think grass is a radical product. It's not something new and unnatural either. But we're going to have to jump through all of those hoops as if we just invented something in a lab, I think. But never mind.
Let's move to EV sales, because here's another thing that bobs up and down, depending on which newspaper you read. EV sales have fallen through the floor. No one's buying electric cars anymore, which brings us on to this inconvenient headline for those people who are advancing that theory, which is that EV sales actually hit a record high last month. Yeah,
and I think they went up 30% in. I think this was September. The report was for actually, and combined EV and hybrid cars made up half of all new car sales. Imagine that, half of all new sales. And this comes at the same time as the EU are looking at cancelling the cancellation of petrol and diesel sales in 2035. And there are renewed calls from the right-wing fools in our country to push our date back from 2030 to 2035, which is really making no sense. I mean, it's a Boris Johnson policy, by the way, that Labour have inherited, and I think they brought forward to 2030 probably. But it made a great deal of sense. But it makes no sense now to say that this proposed ban in 5 years' time, or call it 4 years' time, is too hard to deliver on, because next year a whole bunch of Chinese cars are entering the market in Britain that are actually cheaper to buy than the petrol or diesel equivalent.
Correct.
And electric cars have long been cheaper to run over their lifetime, even though they cost a little bit more to buy. But that gets completely upended early next year, when it's cheaper to buy an electric car and cheaper to run an electric car, and of course doesn't make any pollution and stuff like that. I mean, why would anybody want to buy a petrol or diesel car in 2030? I don't think they will. I think it would be an economically self-harming act.
And there's now a second-hand market, which, of course, one of the criticisms to begin with, understandably, is there was no second-hand market because there couldn't be, which we all got that. But now there is. I mean, there's quite a thriving second-hand market.
That's right, which there always will be. I mean, that's how it works. And people buy new cars, and a few years later, they sell them.
Yeah,
and that's what happens. I mean, it's just great news all around. But we're in a time where all of the kind of orthodoxies of the last few years are being challenged. Thrown under the bus. Really, it's like, oh, electric cars. It's like, oh, green energy. We can't afford that. Oh, the North Sea. No, we need to drill that like shit, right? Because we need fossil fuels. It's the only way we can get our bills down, apparently. And all this kind of counterfactual nonsense is flying around right now. It's a kind of interesting time, but kind of terrible time all at the same time. Terrible time for the truth, anyway, and for facts.
Indeed. Well, a couple of energy-related stories here. One's a question. It comes from Robert Theophile on Messenger, who says, Dale, I'm not a bot or a journalist. Thank you for clarifying that, Robert.
That's what bots and journalists say.
They all say that, don't they? This could just be straight out of Putin's laptop. Not a bot or a journalist, just a bloke who wants to see renewables win. I have a question, which is, what is stopping Labour from reforming the capacity market and decoupling our gas price from the renewable electricity price? I mean, I don't know how many times the Breaking the Link story has come up on this podcast, Dale. What's the specific, on that last point, can't Ed Miliband just go, we're going to stop pricing it in this way?
Yeah, I mean, how to tackle this question. First off, I don't know what's stopping the government from doing it. And I've never heard anybody say, we need the link between the price of gas and the price of green power. We need this link for a reason, and give a reason. I've never heard a reason why we need it. I've never heard a reason why we can't do it, other than the somewhat implied claim that it would be too difficult.
Yeah.
And it's not difficult. We've looked at it. And it just doesn't make any sense to me that we continue to pay through the nose for our energy, for our green energy. And it's kind of like, it's frustrating also because it feeds that right-wing narrative that green energy isn't bringing bills down. Well, it can't, because we sell it to ourselves at the price of gas, the price of which is set by global markets driven by fear, war, traders, speculation, that kind of stuff. Green energy can't deliver on its price promise while we have the link. And here's the thing that most people don't know. In 2022, the Tories gave themselves the power to break the link. They passed something called the Energy Prices Bill. I think it's still on the statute book. It was emergency legislation. It took them a month. And specifically within it, it gives them the power to break the link. They didn't do it, unfortunately. But it shows it can be done, at least that far. You can get that far.
Indeed. Well, here's another energy-based story. Green stocks are big winners as tech boom drives energy demand. And again, this is kind of a testament to the growth, disproportionate growth compared to pretty much anywhere else in green technology.
Yeah, and you can understand why, because fundamentally it's cheaper, especially if you're directly powering your own thing, because you don't go through the trading system and you don't have this link problem, the gas link problem. So it's cheaper, it's faster to deploy, and of course it's clean. Otherwise people are looking to build gas-fired power stations next to big data centers, and they're talking about mini nuclear power stations. Well, as long as they don't need power for the next 15 years, that one will work out quite fine. And as long as they don't want anything, remotely economic in terms of cost of energy, that will also work out fine. But people are talking about it all the same. Oh, we need mini nukes to power data centers.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wind and the sun, you can do it like that. So it's understandable.
Here's a headline. Maybe you can help us out on this, Dale. So why are Europe's largest banks stalling on climate action as risks accelerate. So this is an analysis of Europe's 25 largest banks, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the analysis, and I mean, it's shocking. I can't say why they're doing it. I really can't. But I think I mean, I could guess. Yeah, I could guess. Anyway, it seems. Oh, what can I say? I mean, it's like the science of the climate crisis is crystal clear, and the need to act is crystal clear. And they did all get together and set themselves targets and stuff like that. But Trump did come along and kind of threaten anybody with climate targets, particularly in America. But because there's a spill on this, he's got this secondary sanctions kind of concept whereby, if you're not in America, but you do something that America doesn't like, then you get some kind of sanction. But basically, banks and financial institutions have been running away from climate commitments, partly because of Trump, and maybe partly because it's just easier not to do them. For me, it's all a bit last chance saloon, like for these guys, the oil companies and the banks together. It's just a chance to make money while they can, and they don't really give a shit about anything else.
Question from Bob Darby on Facebook. This is reference a post about the climate crisis and 2025 being the third hottest year on record. Bob says, hasn't the same thing happened to Mother Earth over the last 4 billion years? Climate change? Wasn't Devon a desert millennia ago? Birmingham under a mile thick ice crust once upon a time? Just saying. Yeah, I think what he's saying is stop making shizzle up, everybody. We've been through all these changes before when nobody had a car or a chimney or a coal burning furnace in their back garden.
Except, right, we haven't been through all this before. Humanity is barely 200,000 years old, not 4 billion. And these big events, these big shifts in, ice caps and all that kind of stuff, sea levels, they've happened on our planet. And, one of them wiped the dinosaurs out who actually lived here for 150 million years, far more than we've managed so far. But the point is, we don't have records back beyond more than a couple of hundred years. We can core drill the ice caps, and we can actually get carbon data from that so that we can see what was in the atmosphere for, hundreds of thousands of years ago. We can go back that far. And it's clear that the levels of CO2 today are unprecedented, and that they began to spike around the time of the Industrial Revolution, when we started burning coal in unimaginable amounts. I mean, it's absolutely clear that it's man-made CO2 in the atmosphere. We've got levels that we haven't had for hundreds of thousands of years. And yes, they cause bad things to happen, but we haven't lived through them before, Bob. And I don't want to live through them now.
Well, connected to that, there's a story about polar bears, which I think is worth actually looking at, because apparently their DNA is changing.
Yeah, I saw that. It's a terrible thing. There's a study of polar bears in areas affected by ice melt and areas less affected by ice melt, and it's actually changing their DNA. I don't know if it's in a good way. I don't know if it's a positive adaptation or not. I'm not sure anybody knows that.
Yeah. But this is from living in a rapidly warming climate, isn't it, for those bears that are in that particular area?
That's right. Ice melt and that kind of stuff.
Their actual biology is changing.
That's right.
To cope with it.
Which is crazy. But I mean, I guess that's how evolution works. But yes, it's when they haven't got, as much ice as they used to having. They do more swimming. Yeah. They have to change the habits and stuff like that. It's changing their very DNA. It's an interesting story, as well as a slightly scary one.
And this, connected to energy, 8 more UK universities cut recruitment ties with the fossil fuel industry, something that you would encourage, Dale.
Yeah, I would actually. And I mean, there's no future in a job in the fossil fuel industry, right? I mean, I try to make this point whenever I can. And I was thinking of somebody I made this point to recently, but I can't name him because we're not allowed to talk about the fact that we met. But I'm saying, look, the North Sea, you can argue whether it's got 10 years left in it or 20 years left in it. You could even, somebody could make a case there's 50 years left. It doesn't matter. The simple fact of all of those scenarios is it will run out, right? It's finite. And so a job, if you're in university now and you think, where am I going to go for a career? Well, you're going to go to fossil fuels, a doomed industry, or green energy. So what these universities are doing actually makes sense. And the other thing, and this is quite worth getting your head around, renewable energy is a forever fuel. It's not going away. We can just keep using it, whereas fossil fuels are single use. You burn it, it's gone. And Pre the energy crisis, we were spending £50 billion a year to bring that into our country, fossil fuels, that amount of it, just to burn it. And then we did the same again the next year. And I wrote about this in my book, Manifesto. And NESO, the grid operator, put a study out last week talking about this £50 billion of fossil fuels that we bring over just to burn. It has the most profound negative impact on our economy to do that, because we could spend a couple of years worth of that money and get to complete energy independence, or we can keep bringing fossil fuels in and just burning them. It's like we're stupid.
Yeah. And a question. Should we finish on a question? I love that profound. That was almost sort of BAFTA winning. Keep it hanging moment there, Dale.
Well, I get better as the podcast goes on sometimes.
It's like we've been doing it for a while or something. Here's a question from Graham Nash on Facebook. This is about the rewilding of areas and beavers being put back into the wild. Dale, I think you should run a feature on who or what could possibly be threatened by a beaver. I'd be interested to know what Ian's old nan has to say about it as well. Is anybody threatened by a beaver?
Yeah, I think they are.
My nan didn't like beavers. I should just declare that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know why she had an irrational hatred of the beast.
No, I don't understand it. I think they're cute as hell.
Well, I do.
They do an incredible job. They do an incredible job. They engineer a kind of an environment around themselves, which becomes an environment for so much more wildlife than just beavers. It's really quite incredible. They're referred to by some people as nature's engineer. I think the people that are scared of them are the people that like to manage the land completely as if it's a garden. Farmers, for example, and people that breed birds for game shooting and all that kind of stuff. For them, the land is only natural when it's what they've set it out to be, to look like and to have in it. Beavers are wild creatures. They do their own thing, but they're superb for flood water management as well, an issue that we have to deal with as the climate crisis continues to bite, as well as habitat creation, an issue we have to deal with because we've lost so much of our wildlife. So beavers are just like an amazing, they're almost like a gift. It's like somebody said, guys, you're in the shit, right? Climate crisis is coming. The country keeps flooding because of this climate rain you keep having, and you've lost all your wildlife. Here's a beaver.
Call the beavers.
Here's a beaver.
I mean, if they were, a tool, they'd be in B&Q as a multi-tool, wouldn't they? I mean, these things do everything. They drill, they hammer, they hoover, they get rid of stuff.
I'm loving it.
They construct.
The Swiss Army Beaver. Come on.
That's exactly what they are. Yeah. There's no end to these little talents.
So we're bringing them back to West Sussex in the new year. Yeah. We've talked about it before, but that's happening. And we just found some more land in Devon that we're adding to some other land. With other people, we're creating a 2,000-acre nature corridor. That's already got beavers in, but we'll obviously encourage them to thrive. Beavers are the new thing.
They're the new thing. Everybody should have one.
Oh, I'll tell you a joke. I mean, it might not be funny. If it's not funny, cut it, Kev. But
I'm ready.
We're planning to go to a lot of festivals this year with Ecotalk, with a team of people from Ecotalk. And you know what that's about. It's like mobile phone. All the money from that goes into rewilding, and the pinnacle of that is beavers. And I thought we'd have a campaign, like a slogan for the festival goers, and we'll talk about Saturday Night Beaver.
I love it. Why would anybody not like that?
I don't know. We'll get a little animation of a beaver doing a John Travolta dance.
That's exactly what. Yeah, all of that.
Bit of Saturday Night Beaver. Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't want that? Dale, we will. On that point, we'll speak in a week.
All right.
Don't forget to follow Dale on social media, on X, on Insta, on Facebook, and on TikTok as well.